Good morning, I'm Harriet. This is Business Morning, live to you from Channels Television. It's the session day of the two-day rate-setting meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee in the nation's capital, Abuja, and there's a general consensus that the committee will maintain status quo. Now, at its last meeting in September, the committee decided to retain the monetary policy rate at 14%, retain the cash reserve ratio at 22.5%, also, they retained the liquidity ratio at 30%, and the asymmetric window of around the monetary policy rate was retained at plus 200 and minus 500 basis points. Now, the committee will review major developments, including latest GDP data, which was released by the Bureau of Statistics Office yesterday, showing the economy contracted 2.24% in the third quarter of the year from 2.06% that was reported in the second quarter. There's also an increase in inflation. That's at 18.3%. They will also be assessing the impact of monetary tightening and a flexible foreign exchange rate policy on the transmission of foreign inflows into the economy. Now, Channels Television has that on tap. There's a live coverage of the decisions reached by the committee that will be announced after its meeting. That will be from about 2:30 p.m. We've got a live pre-MPC analysis starting at about 1:48 p.m. and then we've got post-MPC analysis that will also coming up today at about 3 p.m. lined up with a panel from the nation's capital with Channels Business News editor Bosun Omofaye, who is live in the nation's capital, Abuja. Bosun will be joining me on the program in a bit. You can follow the events live on Channels Television or online via any of our social media platforms. Of course, for you at this time, let's quickly take a look at the first trading day of the week, starting with the fixed income segment of the market and taking a look at the numbers, particularly for the treasury bills. That's the first one we'll take a look at. We see that there was yield contraction across most of the medium to long dated bonds. So from the FMDQ OTC's market, we see investors particularly favoring the bond maturing on the bill maturing on the 15th of December. So that's short to medium, not medium to long term, as I said. That's particularly for the bonds market. We'll get to that in a bit. So we'll see investors favoring the bills maturing on the 15th of December, 1st of December, 29th of December, and 8th of December, all for this year, with various price highs of between 9 naira 90 kobo and 15 naira 10 kobo. As you can also see there, we saw increased activity on bills traded yesterday, with value coming in at 138.32 billion naira and deals at 553. Now, for the bonds market, which is what I keep mixing these numbers up with, we saw a bit of tepid movement, if you like, across most of the dated bonds traded on the FMDQ OTC's market, but particular apathy was towards the bonds maturing on the 18th of March 2036, with a price high of 77.65, as well as the bonds maturing on the 14th of March, 22nd of January 2026 and 29th of June 2019. And at the end of the day, value came in at 11.30 billion naira and deals recorded were 93. For the equities market, the market started on a negative note. So for that means the market has seen consecutive 7 days of bearish sentiments, and of course not unconnected to the fact that investors are booking profit off most of the highly capitalized stocks listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. But the performance of yesterday's session was largely owing to declines recorded by Dangote Sugar, Continental Insurance and Nymeth, and these dragged the market down. As we can see there, the all-share index is at 25,499, down 0.15%. So as I mentioned, losses recorded by Dangote Sugar dragged the market down. The equity shed 4.94%. That's almost 5% to finish at 6 naira 16 kobo. On the other hand, we have Transcorp Hotel. That was the top gainer for yesterday's session, and that appreciated almost 5% as well to close at 5 naira 51 kobo. The most actively traded equity was Transcorp. We had 19.89 million units exchanged by investors. At the end of the day's trading session, 112.43 million units exchanged hands, and a value of 858.53 million naira was recorded. Very poor value market and volume as recorded yesterday, and deals came in at 2,532. Of course, we'll talk more about the markets in just a bit, much later on the program, that is, with Rotimi Fakayejo, who's an equities trader and the CEO of Enterprise Top Brokers. We get a sense of where the market is and how the market is shaping up ahead of the decision of the Monetary Policy Committee, which will be announced. That's one of the major developments that we'll be reviewing on the program today. Bosun Omofayo's Channel's business news editor is live in the nation's capital, Abuja, and let's talk to him now. We're talking about the state of the economy. Good morning to you, Bosun.
Yeah, good morning, Harriet, and how are you doing today?
Well, I'm trying to keep my head above water. That's one. And then two, I'm keeping my ears and eyes very close to all the news coming out from the markets with regards how they're shaping up ahead of the MPC's decision that will be announced much later, that I know you and the other folks have got your eye on.
Yes, of course, you know, the news overnight that the central bank in Ghana decided to cut interest rate, policy rate by 0.5%, 50 basis points. That's the first time in 6 years that the central bank of Ghana has cut an interest rate, says inflationary pressure is declining and they don't want further pressure on the economy. Perhaps that will be some decision, part of the considerations for Godwin Emefiele and the rest of his team. Thank you very much, Harris. Let's spend a few minutes very quickly. You said you're keeping your head above water. Nigeria's